Good evening and welcome once again to Irish Television Chicago. This show is brought to you in part by the Irish American Heritage Center. My name is Tom Looney and my co-host again is Siobahn of Bhuachalla. Siobahn will have some interesting things to tell you about very soon. We have our usual lineup of entertainment, news and sports. And I guess we'll start off the evening with some good entertainment. Siobahn, you got some nice entertainment lineup for us?
Nice entertainment, interesting entertainment. Siobahn always has something interesting to say. We're starting off tonight with the O'Shea family. A few weeks ago, our news anchorman Mike Shevlin carried a story on the abolition of the old holy hour in Ireland, which was more or less an institution in itself, Tom.
Well, that's true. For all the years I can remember, yes, we've had the holy hour in Ireland, so they're going to abolish it, huh?
Yeah, closing from 2:30 to 3:30 is gone now.
Well, I guess, well, I shouldn't say too bad, because it was sort of a rest period, I guess, for some people, but it's nice to be able to have some uninterrupted drinking, shall I say.
Of course, the laws were so antiquated in Ireland at one stage that up until a few years ago, a publican was still obliged to give you room and board for your horse and oats for him overnight, I think.
That's correct, I guess. So you couldn't turn anybody away with that circumstance. Yeah, that's true.
See, the thing is, the oats wouldn't be too expensive, but if you change it to modern day and he had to give you 10 gallons of petrol for your car, that's where the money would come into it, and they'd object.
Yeah, I guess gases must be over $3 a gallon, higher?
In Ireland, it's a lot.
Right now?
Quite a lot.
I think so, yeah. Well, now we'd like to introduce you to the Shannon heirs and
Eileen
Alana.
Goodbye. come home, my little Anna. For weary brow is brooding now for you, my little Anna. Come home, my little, come home, my little Anna. For weary brow is brooding now for you, my little Anna. For weary brow is brooding now for you, my little Anna.
Hi, this is Tom O'Donnell sitting in for Martin Hayes with our featured group, the Shannonaires. Today I'm with Michael O'Connell, who's a member of the group. In fact, got the group together. Michael, nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Really enjoying your music. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about how long you been together.
Well, the band is the Shannonaires, been together about 8 years, I would say. And we got some new groups that come with us the last 2 years or so. And our new guys with us about 2 months. Jerry Carey and Claire, the All-Ireland champion accordion player.
All Ireland.
All
Beautiful.
From County Clare. And Dougie Alexander, he's been with us for, I'd say, about 5 years. And he has played all over this town. You know, he played in the Holiday Ballroom, Demons, all over Ireland, you know. And Jim O'Malley,
Right.
he's from County Mayo, played a lot of bands in this town and in Ireland. And Liam Patton has played in a lot of bands around from County Donegal. And Billy Hickey is our lead singer from County Kildare,
And you are from
County Kerry.
County Kerry. So your musical influences are from all over Ireland.
Right.
And you're the drummer.
That's right.
And
We're
you've been here for a long time. You've been here in Chicago area for
25 years.
25 years. And you got the group together and you've been playing all over Chicago.
That's right. We do all the benefits and dinner dances and weddings. And we got the Rose Tralee dance coming up the 18th of this month, which will be exciting.
Oh, yes.
Kerry.
That's right, because we have an international Rosa Tralee from Chicago.
That's right.
And you'll be playing at that. And you'll also, in August, I believe, we have the Irish Fest, and you'll be playing...
That's right. We'll be playing, I believe, it'll be Friday night and Sunday night at Navy Pier.
Okay, and that's
for
in...
the Chicago Fest.
And that's in late...
that's in late August.
Late August,
Yeah.
and we'll get the date on that.
Yeah.
You play, drums aren't exactly a traditional Irish instrument. It's not something you expect, but you kind of beef up the music there, really get a hot beat going.
Yeah, we drive it a little bit, put a bit of rhythm behind it.
And that's something that's very popular these days with the groups to get it.
What's more life than?
Now, you told me before you're from a large family.
Yeah, there is 14 of us in the family, and all musically inclined. We all play accordion, traditional music, like.
So the O'Connell family gets together. There's a
good group.
Couple tunes coming out of that. Well, we really have enjoyed your music, and we're gonna hear some more from you.
I hope so.
And we hope to have you back on the show again.
Very good.
Okay,
Thank you.
Michael. Thank you. And this is Tom O'Donnell again, and back to you.
Well, the Shannonaires are a very professional band, considering they play part-time. Siobahn?
Yeah, absolutely. They all have day jobs, and then they don the black and white suits and they get out there and they act like a right show band, which is incredible. A lot of stamina to keep working day and night. I don't know how anybody could do something like that. So, now they have another song for us, and it's called Maggie.
I wander today through the hills, Maggie, to watch the sea below. The creek and the creaky old mill long ago. The green robe is gone from the hills, Maggie, where first the daisies did grow. But you're as fair as you were, Maggie, when you and I were young. Oh, they say that I'm feeble with age, Maggie. My steps are much slower than this. My face is a well-written page, Maggie, and I alone with the page. They say we never lived our time, Maggie, as faded as snow that we sow. But you're as fair as you were, Maggie, when you and I were young. When you and I were young.
While we were off camera here, we were reading some proverbial Irish sayings, and this one's kind of funny since we're in July. It goes, "He who bathes in May will soon be laid in clay. He who bathes in June will sing a merry tune, and he who bathes in July will dance like a fly." I've got a strong suspicion this is a Clare saying for some reason.
Well, I could probably go along with that. I guess the difference is I think the heat in July is a little bit less in Clare than around here.
Yeah, well, but you see, what I'm trying to figure out is, do they mean bathe as in take a bath, or bathe as in swim? And is it sort of
It must be
a once monthly
bathe
thing
in the
for
ocean,
Clare?
I'd say.
Bathe in the ocean. Okay.
Well, now we'd like to have you stay tuned for the news, sports, and our upcoming feature.
Good evening. The leader of Sinn Féin, Mr. Gerry Adams, Member of Parliament for West Belfast, has called on the IRA to get its house in order following a series of civilian attacks, the latest being the tragic killing of the Hanna family in a landmine attack intended for a northern judge last Saturday. Mr. and Mrs. Hanna and their 8-year-old son were traveling home from Dublin Airport when their car was blown up by an IRA unit who mistook the car for that of Judge Ian Higgins, a justice of the Northern Ireland High Court. The South Armagh IRA apologized for what they called a case of mistaken identity. This incident brings to 17 the number of civilians killed in IRA attacks since last November. Politicians from both sides of the border have condemned the attack and called for a complete and urgent review of the VIP security system. Lord Justice Gibson and his wife Cecily were killed at the same spot last year while returning home from an overseas vacation. Judge Higgins' travel arrangements had been made under a pseudonym and his route carefully concealed, and yet the IRA had obtained all the necessary information and had intended Saturday's explosion for the judge and his wife. IRA leaders have repeatedly maintained that their policy is to avoid civilian deaths, and this latest tragedy is seen as a substantial setback to the Sinn Féin SDLP talks. Earlier this month, this news desk reported on the special Sinn Féin conference in Belfast, at which many local representatives expressed discomfort at the party's continued unqualified support for the IRA and said they experienced a conflict between their roles as community leaders and the IRA campaign of violence and economic destruction. The New York Peace Pilgrimage to Ireland, led by Cardinal John O'Connor, has spent the week traveling throughout the country. Last weekend, the full pilgrimage group, which includes New York Mayor Ed Koch and the Rosary Crusade priest Father Patrick Payton, who was a native of County Mayo, gathered at Our Lady's Basilica at the Knox Shrine for a multi-denominational ceremony of peace and reconciliation. News of the IRA bombing, which killed 3 civilians, reached Cardinal O'Connor as he entered the basilica to conduct the ceremony. He commented briefly on the incident, saying there could be no peace with justice from such violent actions. However, the Cardinal stressed that his purpose was to come to Ireland as a pilgrim, and his sole intent was to pray. Later in the week, the Cardinal traveled to Belfast as a guest of Bishop Cathal Daly, and then to Armagh to attend an ecumenical service organized by Cardinal Thomas O'Fee, the Catholic Primate of all Ireland. Reporters were eager to ask Cardinal O'Connor about his relationship with Mayor Koch. He said that they had profound philosophical and theological differences and had no intention of compromising or wavering on any of them. But nonetheless, the two are presently collaborating on a book exploring the church and state conflict in the U.S. Cardinal O'Connor said his immediate work upon returning to the States will be to promote further peace pilgrimages to Ireland. The Boston pilgrimage is planned for the fall, and Chicago is also on the list. He said the whole world should be made conscious of the suffering in the north of Ireland and the pain caused by emigration and unemployment in the Republic. The world-famous Russian Kirov Ballet finished its 2-week visit to Dublin this week. The company's performance of Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake on a specially constructed stage at the RDS Simon's Court Pavilion was sold out for all 7 performances. A total of 25,000 people in all attended the shows, which is the largest number of people ever to attend a classical event in Ireland. Leading roles were performed by the company's principal dancers, Konstantin Zelinsky as Prince Siegfried and Olga Chenchenkova as Odette Odile. The remarkable success of the ballet has renewed controversy over the withdrawal of the $500,000 grant for the Irish National Ballet Company by the Arts Council last year. The company says this is absolute proof of the immense interest in classical dance which exists in Ireland. Meanwhile, the Russian dancers spent their free time visiting Dublin City. The visit was marked by a notable relaxation of security on the part of the Russian government chaperones. The dancers went shopping on Grafton Street, visited the Gaiety to see The Scatterin, a play about Irish immigration. They were treated to a special mayoral reception at the Mansion House, and then slipped away to watch Crocodile Dundee 2 at a local Dublin cinema. On their last night before returning to Leningrad, many of the dancers were found in O'Donoghue's famous Irish pub enjoying a traditional music session. Kolesnikov said he enjoyed the pub session more than anything else he had done in Dublin and admitted that his fondest memory of the city would be its tasty Guinness. Following the Kirov Ballet success, the Bolshoi Company has announced that it will visit Ireland next year. The Scottish National Ballet is also planning some Irish performances early next year. The International Special Olympic Committee opened an exhibition of Special Olympic memorabilia this week. The exhibition, which will travel through the United States, is specially dedicated to Paul Culkin. Paul, a Down syndrome victim from Ballyshannon, County Donegal, died last year while competing in the Special Olympics in South Bend, Indiana. Paul's parents and his swimming coach, Mrs. Mary O'Malley Day, traveled to the opening of the exhibition for the dedication. That's our news for tonight. I'm Mike Shevlin.
This song has become a classic over the years, ladies and gentlemen. You know, the funny thing about it, when people sing this song in Ireland, they almost exclusively refer to this song to the County Clare, where in fact the place mentioned is in County Kerry. Now, the Irish tend to be a little peculiar like that. Sometimes, you know, you try and, not only do you confuse everybody else, but you try and confuse yourself as well.
Indeed.
But The song is called The Cliffs of Dooneen. And if you happen to be looking for the Cliffs of Dooneen, you'll have to go to Ballybunion to find them, not to County Clare. Down there to County Kerry, Ballybunion, and if you go to the back of Ballybunion, you'll find the cliffs. Ask the first person you meet on an old bicycle. Ask them where the Cliffs of Dooneen are, and they'll show you. And when you find them, you can look across at County Clare. You can look over at Kilkee and Kilrush and Ennistimon and places like that. It's a classic Irish ballads. Hope you like it. For Jimmy down there. You may travel far, far from your own native home, far away o'er the mountains, far away o'er the foam. But of all the fine places that I've ever been, sure there's none to compare with the Cliffs of Dooney. Take a view o'er the mountains, fine sights you'll see there. You'll see the high Rocky Mountains of the west coast of Clare. Oh, the towns of Kilrush and Kilkee can be seen from the high rocky slopes of the Cliffs of Dooney. It's a nice place to be on a fine summer's day, watching all the wild flowers that ne'er do decay. Oh, the hare and the pheasant are plain to be seen, making homes for their young round the Cliffs of Dooney. To Dooney, fare thee well for a while, and to all the fine people I'm leaving behind, to the streams and the meadows where late I have been, and the high rocky slopes of the Cliffs of Dooney, to the streams and the meadows where late I have been, and the high rocky slopes of the Cliffs of Dooney. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Pat Looney with Irish Television Sports, sponsored this week by Craig and Federal. In tennis, the splendid performance of the Irish tennis team in last week's Davis Cup meet in Dublin was a setback for the Irish Lawn Tennis Association because of financial responsibility involved in qualifying for the further stages of the championship. Both Owen Casey and Matt Doyle had decisive wins over their Greek opponents in the singles matches. Casey defeated Bhuachalla 6-1, 6-1, and Owen Collins, who came in to replace Matt Doyle suffering from a shoulder strain, completed Doyle's determined start to finish in 2 straight sets, 6-2, 6-3. The Irish doubles team of Doyle and Peter Wright were successful in their Zone Group 2 match, and this makes Ireland's chances of further success in Euro-Africa Zone very hopeful. Progress in this zone would move the players to just 1 rung below the World Zone, which they reached twice before in 1981 and 1983. At that time, the ILTA found themselves playing host to the U.S. team in Dublin, and the renewed success of the Irish tennis players has raised fears that the ILTA may have to host another costly event in the near future. It is an unfortunate feature of Irish tennis that the ILTA may have to forego the home advantage simply because playing in Ireland is far too costly to the association. The 3 Davis Cup games played last weekend at Ranelagh's Tennis Club revealed a deficit of $13,000. Most of that money was spent on the erection of grandstands, and the ILTA relied on the admission gate to repay the cost, as Davis Cup rules do not allow local sponsorship. However, attendance at the meet was minimal at best, and the ILTA say they simply cannot afford to host another losing event. Now to athletics. The BLE has planned to hold the Olympic qualifying trials at Santry Stadium last week. However, howling winds meant that all official qualifying trials had to be canceled. Nonetheless, a number of athletes put on inspiring performances, most notably John Doherty in the 5,000 meters. Doherty finished the race some 1,200 meters ahead of his closest rival, Eamon Coghlan. There is no doubt now that Doherty will be the top of the list in the Irish selectors, and Coghlan, who ran a time of 14:78, has said he is intent upon qualifying for the 5,000 meter event. In the 1,500 race, Frank O'Meara had an easy win, running 3:27.47. Sprinting the last lap in an impressive 55.1 seconds. The surprise defeat of the day was Cork's Marcus O'Sullivan, running for Lee Vale, who finished a disappointing 3rd. Silver medal holder John Tracy took the honors at the Newcastle meet. Tracy, running in the Great North Run half marathon, took the lead after only 3 miles over world record holder Steve Jones. The Waterford's man ran a time of 61 minutes and was the 3rd best of all time for this distance. He crossed the line 55 seconds ahead of Jones. Speaking after the race, Tracy said that time indicated his training was right on schedule for Seoul. Tracy has 2 more races, a 5,000 meters in Holland and a 10,000 in Brussels, before he travels to Seoul in September. This week's big game, was Leinster football final between last year's champion Meath and Dublin. Meath were narrow favorites going into yesterday's game, and certainly in the first half they showed all the skill and expertise which won them the Sam Maguire Cup last September. The Dublin defense struggled throughout the first half against a persistent Meath forward line, who were rewarded with a goal from McCullum McCree just 7 minutes into the first half. Meath, who were playing without Brian Strafford, played some excellent football throughout this 45 minutes. However, a campaign of close, rough tackling on the part of both teams interrupted what should have been a fluid, fast-moving game. It must be said that Dublin were the worst offenders in this area. 6 players in all were booked, 4 of which were Dublin players, with 1 player sent off during the second half for dangerous fouling. Meath followed their early goal-scoring success with a spectacular goal in the 15th minute. An O'Rourke pass from the midfield was picked up by Liam Hargan, who passed to Bernard Flynn. Then Liam Hayes gave the ball to P.J. McGillick. McGillick found himself staring at an open goal as the Dublin defense strained to get back in place. But McGillick was too quick, and a helpless John O'Leary in the Dublin goal watched the ball rebound off the crossbar and into the net. The first half was a closely fought match, but the stalwart Meath defense kept Dublin at bay, and the halftime score was Meath 2 goals 1 point, Dublin 6 points. A determined Dublin team started off the remaining 45 minutes with some strong-minded play. Meath pulled ahead at various points of the game, but the Dublin men fought back, always keeping themselves within a few points of the championship. This was not as an exciting half as the first. However, Dublin players Murphy, Redmond, and of course Barney Rock must be mentioned for their excellent play, and Meath's Mick Lyons, who was the heart of the tight Meath defensive line. A late challenge saw Dave Sinnott sent off, and Dublin had to play the rest of the game with just 14 men. The most breathtaking moment of the match came in the very last minute as Dublin attacked the Meath goal and referee called for a penalty. At this stage there were 3 points between them. Croke Park was silent as Charlie Redmond stepped up to take the kick. This was a scene reminiscent of the 1979 Leinster final, when a final minute penalty won the game for a Dublin team who were also playing with 14 men. Redmond took the penalty, but Dublin fans watched in dismay as the weakly kickball sailed over the bar for a point, and the referee blew the final whistle before the ball could be kicked back into play. The Leinster Championship was back in Meath again, and the final score, Meath 2 goals, 5 points, Dublin 9 points. This was surely one of the most exciting games we've seen all season. The referee must be commended for keeping firm control for the duration. The Mayo team, who will now play Meath in the All-Ireland semi-final, must watch out for the tough Millions defense team of Mick Lyons and goalie Liam McCullen, and the prolific point scorer of yesterday's game, Maddie McKay. In local Gaelic games, Sunday was a big day for the football here in Chicago. Last year's North American champions McBrides played the Wolf Tones. Playing for the Tones was Jack O'Shea, the legendary Kerry footballer, winner of several All-Ireland medals and a long-standing All-Star player. McBrides put on a good game, but O'Shea, who played an outstanding match, was significant in helping his host team Wolf Tones to a resounding win of 113 to McBride's 1-6. In other Gaelic Park games, a New York Miners team beat Chicago, and the Chicago Ladies beat Toronto. Irish Television traveled to Gaelic Park during the week to interview Jack O'Shea, and we'll have that interview for you next week. That's our sports for this week. I'm Pat Looney.
You know, the wonderful thing about Irish traditional music is that it's something that brings the whole family together rather than causing generation gaps and bridges between the ages like rock music or classical or whatever. And that's very, very obvious in so many successful Irish groups, particularly Clonard, who are now hugely internationally acclaimed, and they're all members of the one family, brothers, sisters, cousins. And of course, on the local Chicago scene, that's true as well, Tom.
Well, that's true. By the way, Clonard they're all one family, I believe, right? Yeah, that's true. And now we have members of the one family.
The Henry family.
The Henry family. That's Kevin and Henry and his daughter Maggie, and a nice tune coming up for us. Well, we will have more of this fine music coming up later in the show. And now for our special feature of the week.
Chicago's third annual Irish Fest kicks off this weekend at Navy Pier. It starts on Friday, August 5th and goes on until the Sunday. And dropping into the studio here with us now is Mary Cannon. She's on the board of directors of the Irish Fest Committee, and she's here to tell us all about what's going on this weekend. Mary, you're very welcome to Irish Television.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Siobahn. I'm happy to be here. It's always a treat to come to the Abbey pub. I know you're primarily interested in the entertainment, and we're very excited about the groups that we have this year, just to name a few, and of course the headliners, Stockton Swing.
That's a hell of a catch.
Right, which you know all about. They're the backup band to U2. We're going to have Patty Riley, the Tannehill Weavers, the Clan, the Dooley Brothers, the Orange and the Green from the South Side, where I'm from, Mary McGonigal, Dermot O'Brien, Barley Bree, Richie O'Shea, the Dancing Noodles. No fest is complete without the Dancing Noodles. Mike O'Connell and the Shannoners, and of course we'll have the pipe bands, the Emerald Society Pipe Band and the Shannon Rovers. We have a special children's stage on the north side of the pier, which is a very lovely area. On the children's stage, we're going to have the dancing schools represented. We're going to have a contest for the child with the reddest hair and the child with the most freckles. So all you little freckled people, run out in the sunshine and see if you can acquire a few more by Friday. Right.
And there's going to be a very special visitor to the children's stage, I heard.
Yes, rumor has it that the tallest leprechaun in the world is going to pay us a visit. And I'm very anxious to see this creature because, you know, the little people are supposed to be the little people.
Right.
Right. I just hope he brings his pot of gold with him.
The tallest leprechaun has got to be the Irish version of Little Big Man or something.
Something like, maybe Big Bird. I don't know.
Okay, now the wonderful thing, listening of course to the lineup there of bands and the children's stage, is the variety involved in Irish Fest. There's something for everyone, from young to the very old. There's something that's going to attract them, both entertainment-wise, both food-wise, hopefully.
Oh yes, yes. We're going to have a selection of food for those people who have to eat pizza. We're going to have Nancy's Pizza. We're going to have Ireland's Restaurant, Fireplace Inn, the Harans of Oak Park, or I guess it's, it's Oak Park, near Oak Park. And Winston's, of course, from the South Side.
Winston's is the word I was waiting for.
Right. No fest is complete without Winston's sausages and soda bread and scones. I think we've covered the food end of it and the beverage end of it and the entertainment end of it. And we're also going to have a cultural area on the mezzanine of the auditorium. And the Heritage Center will have booths up there, and several other organizations will be represented.
And some of your genealogy experts from the Heritage Center
Yes,
are going to be down there?
Yes.
That's a wonderful move, I think.
All you American-born of Irish descent can come down and get some tips on tracing your roots or your family tree. We also have an Irish shopping mall with 16 Irish import shops from the greater Chicago area. I'm particularly interested in that aspect. Not only did I coordinate those shops, but I plan to do my Christmas shopping early.
No, it doesn't
Starting
even have to
with
be
me.
Christmas shopping for me. I just
Right.
love to shop.
Right.
Especially with the Irish gift stores. They've got such a wonderful selection. Now, something very interesting that I noticed is that you're going to have a shuttle service for people who need to park far away, so there'll be no congestion on the day.
Right, I'm very glad you mentioned that. For those people who are driving down, they can park on in the Monroe Street parking garage, and we will have shuttle buses running between the garage and Navy Pier. Once you're on the pier, we will have another shuttle service from the pier entrance down to the fest area. So we are also going to have handicap parking on the pier. So we've tried to make it as easy as possible for everyone to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's go over entrance costs very quickly.
All right. The cost of the tickets are for adults and children over 12 is $6 at the gate on the pier. You may, however, buy those at a reduced price at the Irish import shops in the Chicago area and in the suburbs, and they will cost you $5 at the import shops. Children under 12, of course, are free, and senior citizens may buy a reduced senior citizen ticket for $3 at the gate.
Okay, so just about everything's catered for there again.
Right?
And the $6 entrance fee gains you entrance to everything: the music, the food, the.
That's the only cost, yes, to get on the piers.
Once you're in, you're in.
You're in, right. We open at 3 o'clock on Friday, and we go until midnight. We start at noon on Saturday until midnight, and Sunday we start at noon with a Mass in the auditorium, which will be celebrated by Bishop Timothy Line from Holy Name Cathedral.
So it's a very, very full weekend.
Yes.
I imagine not too little work has gone into the whole of the organization of this.
There's been a tremendous amount of work gone into this, and we're very grateful, and I want to thank them in advance to those several hundred volunteers who are going to be manning some of these booths and working all weekend. They have a lot of fun, but it's a hard job.
It's all the Irish organisations who volunteer.
Yes, the Irish Heritage Centre sending many volunteers, and of course the Young Irish Fellowship Club. They like to come.
Now let's, just in case people are querying about profits, I know the fiscal history of the fest has been more or less up and down. Last year was a disappointment, the first year was wonderful. If a profit's made this year, and we certainly hope it will be, where does the money go?
I hope so. In '86 was our first fest, and we did realize a profit after expenses of $100,000, which we divided evenly between Gaelic Park and the Irish American Heritage Centre. Last year we had a deficit due to the extreme hot weather. And this year we're certainly hoping for a profit so that we can once again distribute funds to those organizations who are promoting and perpetuating Irish culture, Irish games. We're very fortunate in the Chicago area, I think, to have those two unique facilities, Chicago Gaelic Park and the Heritage Center. So many people worked for so many years to realize both of those dreams. And we have this now as a legacy for our children and our children's children, and I think we're very, very lucky in Chicago.
Well, hopefully, we are lucky indeed, but hopefully this year there will be a profit made. Don't let the weather put you off, because it's on Navy Pier this year. It's an old traditional place for Irish people to gather. The sea breeze, the lake breeze will be coming in off Lake Michigan. There's air conditioning in the indoor auditorium, so please don't worry about that whatsoever. Mary, thanks ever so much for dropping in and talking to us today.
Well, I'm delighted to have been here, and I want everyone in your viewing audience to come down to Navy Pier next weekend. We promise you an exceptionally good time.
Okay, I'm going to go over this very briefly. It's next weekend, August 5th, 6th and 7th. It's Navy Pier, it's Irish Fest. That's the most important thing. There are lineup of entertainments from Clare to here and back again, as they say, and it's not such a long way to Tipperary if you go down to Irish Fest. There's food, there's a shopping mall, there's a cultural centre, and we're going to be there. Most of all, it's going to be fun, so please do join us there, Irish Fest next weekend. Thanks again, Mary.
Thank you. See you at the pier.
Exactly. This is Siobahn Bhuachalla for Irish Television, Chicago.
Why not plan your next party at the Irish American Heritage Centre? There are several party rooms available, and the prices are reasonable. For more information, call the centre daily between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. The phone number is 282-7035.
I'm still having a little private giggle over he who bathes in May will soon be laid in clay, because you see, where I grew up, in Bray, we were a lot hardier than they were in Clare, and we could go out swimming in May. In fact, we used to go swimming every Christmas Day at home, but then these East Coasters, they're like that. However, lest violence erupt on the set here, and I'm kicked off, we'll go on. We have a song now called The Fields of Athenry, which was a huge hit at home for Barleycorn.
That's right, the Barleycorn, and they were #1, I believe. And that's who we're going to have here at the Abbey pub on, what date is that? The 17th of August coming
Fantastic.
up. Yes, and a tremendous group right here at the Abbey pub. But now we're going to have The Fields of Athenry by the Shannon Heirs.
round the fields of Athenry. By a lonely prison wall, I heard a young man call. Nothing matters, Mary, when you're free. Against the famine and the crowd, I rebelled, they ran me down. Now you must raise our child with dignity. Songs to sing. It's so lonely round the fields of Athenry.
Well, once again, it's time to wrap up another show. I thank all of you for viewing tonight, especially the Irish American Heritage Centre. I'd like to thank for their support of the show, and also all of the performers. Siobahn?
You forgot to thank me, but I'll thank myself anyway. Thanks for joining us. We certainly did have fun tonight. And if you want to have fun with us again next week, Tom and I will be here at 7 on Channel 25. Gadishan Slán Ag Spannacht.
So long.